We're back, baby.
Yeah, recording on the phone.
Yeah, it's recording.
Just on the phone.
Yeah, just on the phone. Just
Nice.
great audio
It's
there
gonna be good.
on the iPhone.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah, dude. Can you read my chicken scratch?
No.
Don't peek. Upside down.
Quiz.
We're gonna have a gotcha moment.
Only one?
I'm gonna get you to admit all your alt-right beliefs. There he is. Sliding into home.
I'm good.
Called safe.
I'm a good guy.
I'm actually a really good guy. Just so you know. All my views align with yours, so it makes me a really good guy. Oh, speaking of which, I kind of want to talk about this for real, but when Barbie got brought up the other night, and I think Nikki was like, and then there's all this like conservative backlash about it.
Yeah.
I was like, I bet those are some funny videos.
Yeah.
And so I
Did you
looked
watch
them up, and they are hilarious. It's like,
Are there grown men holding Barbie dolls?
yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, maybe that's where we'll start. I don't
Got
know. Got him.
I didn't even know.
Yeah, dude, they got what is that? When you they got Trojan horsed.
Yeah.
They're like, I hate Barbies. They're like fondling their plastic bodies.
Something about this feels right.
But it's just that dude,
Ben Shapiro.
that Ben Shapiro dude, the most punchable person in the world.
Yeah.
You know? And it was like the title of the video was something like Ben Shapiro. I can't even say it. It's like Ben Shapiro destroys the Barbie movie for 45 minutes straight. And I was like, oh my God, dude.
Like, that's almost half
How
the
do you
length
have-
of the movie.
Yeah, how do you have that much to say?
Dude.
It's like he loves it.
Yeah. Apparently, in like the picture, he wore the same outfit as Ken wears in part of the movie.
Really?
To see it. He's like cosplaying as Ken to go watch it.
I see, this is where I wonder if like things like that are just some weird psyop that we're all playing on ourselves.
Could be.
Where it's like not even, it's totally decentralized. No one has any control at all.
Yeah.
But it's just like, we're bored. Let's just hate each other on the internet as hard as we can.
You think he got himself unknowingly?
I do.
Yeah. He showed up
That's
and
my hot take.
saw the movie and then was like, oh, fuck.
Well, now I've got to, he's like, by the way, I'm not gay.
Those photos you saw of me, I didn't plan to wear that outfit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I watched for like 5 minutes. I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah. It's infuriating.
It was so dumb.
It's crazy.
Still haven't seen the movie,
You should watch it.
but
It's
I
good.
want to. Yeah.
It's great.
Since we rescheduled yesterday, I was like, I asked Sarah if she wanted to go,
Yeah.
and she was just a little too tired after driving to Wyoming and back. So, anyway,
If there's anything that Barbie taught me, you should have just thrown her in the car and driven her there because you're the man.
over
Yeah.
my shoulder.
Yeah, hit her with a club, dragged her by the hair.
She loves it when I do that.
That's not the
I
point of
asked
Barbie.
for consent though,
Yeah.
so it's cool.
She likes the club.
She likes the club.
Big 50 Cent fan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Who's not?
Artsy AF is back, baby.
We're back, baby.
Dude, congratulations on being married.
Oh, yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Your wedding was a blast.
Yeah, it was
until the next morning,
Yeah.
and then the next month when I
Yeah.
was just sick for
Yeah.
like the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I
You
I
pretty
had-
much made the morning after bearable for me.
that was hilarious.
I showed
That
up
was funny.
and almost missed the entire post brunch and showed up and was like, I'm going to throw up. And you kept dropping some great comedy gold and it got me through.
Oh well, thank you.
Yeah.
That's why you brought me out.
Yeah. It's like, I think I'm going to throw up because I'm laughing so hard.
Well, dude, I mean, not to just whatever. This is great podcasting.
Always.
I drank a little too many big boy sodas that night.
What were you going for?
It was literally tequila and soda water.
Yeah.
and lime and
What
salt.
am I drink lately? Yeah, pretty good.
So nice.
Real clean.
But then I had too many, and then our friend Ryan gave me just a fat glob of edible. RSO.
Nice.
She's like, this will help you sleep because I didn't sleep the night before.
Yeah.
It didn't really.
Yeah. Did the tequila help you sleep?
Hell no, dude. Alcohol fucks your sleep. I mean, if you have enough.
Yeah, no, you pass out. You don't sleep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have weird, nearly fever dreams.
Yeah, fever dreams, exactly. Yeah.
But, yeah, I had a great time.
Yeah.
And
It
congrats
was fun.
to you.
Yeah, thanks. It was good.
A lot has changed.
Things have changed. This is the nature of the world.
We both have haircuts to show that time has passed.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we've grown
yeah,
our hair.
we've grown
Cut
it
it.
and cut it.
Yep.
And I may have gotten a little taller even.
Have you?
Some out there speculated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who?
I can't really.
I want the data.
I
gotta see
can't
the
really
data.
talk about that.
No, I'm gonna see.
I can disclose that behind.
Are you being
closed doors.
measured same time of day, every day, or like sometime night, sometimes
Well,
morning? 'Cause
I
we
think
all
I get a
know-
little bit taller after a good night's sleep.
Yeah,
Mhm.
everybody does.
I wake up, I'm like,
You wake up and you've got like that one T-shirt. It's a little too big, and you stand up in the morning. You're like, no, it actually fits great.
whoa.
And like later in the night, you're like, I'm a fucking 6-year-old kid in a sleep shirt. What's going on?
Yes. Nice. Did I mention we're back? We're back. All right. Anyway,
We're back.
I guess I'll introduce you.
Yeah.
John LaBoone.
Hey.
Hey. 5 good ones right there, buddy. Have you not heard that one in a while?
I don't think I've ever heard that.
It's classic.
It's a good one. Look at us.
Yeah. Look at us.
Yeah.
Look at
Yeah.
us.
So you told me about that video.
Isn't it hilarious?
It's amazing. I love
Yeah.
it. And I tried to show it to Nikki, who's now my wife. Day after the wedding, we got terrible sleep, hardly slept after the wedding. And so she did not want to see anything funny. And I tried to show it to her anyways.
That's even funnier for some reason.
And so now she refused to re-see it.
Really?
I blew it.
Oh,
Yeah, I blew a great opportunity. 'Cause
that's
it's
okay.
a good joke.
It's very funny though.
Look at us.
Yeah, look at us. Yeah, for people who don't know the reference, it's an edit of Paul Rudd on Hot Ones, and it's just him talking to himself. So they edit it for it to be like Paul Rudd interviews Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
And it's maddeningly wholesome
Yeah.
or something. I don't know how
Yeah.
to describe it. It's very funny.
There's like a nervous excitement to it,
Yeah.
where he's like a little bit excited to be interviewing himself, you know,
Yeah.
and like wants to make a good impression. And
The magic
yeah.
of video editing. I need to find that guy.
That's not real.
I mean, the magic of Paul Rudd and his twin. Well, dude, thanks for coming on my podcast.
Hey, we just started.
Well, I mean, 9 minutes and 17 seconds. Is,
That's all right.
I mean, you can get a lot done.
It's not bad.
All right.
It's not bad.
All right. Let's clean it up here a little bit. So I do want to have a few sincere questions.
Yeah.
I'm glad we started off with some silly banter. I really
Yeah.
need that in this show.
Yeah.
I think I'm
Yeah.
gonna try for more of that sometimes.
Good. Yeah.
With people I know.
Yeah.
Maybe with people I don't know. Maybe not.
That's why I need a prank show to get them involved.
I do want to talk about how much has changed
Mm-hmm.
in the last 4 years. It's been almost 4 years since
Really?
we had you on
It's crazy.
episode 15.
Wow.
It's crazy that it's not that crazy really, because I did just take 20 months off.
Yeah.
I didn't quit though.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody's got to take some time off.
Yeah.
Why? What led you to the time off?
Oh, well, okay. Now the tables have turned.
Now the turntables.
Yeah. hmm Well, my house burned down.
Yeah. That's
Not just
sucks.
mine.
Yeah. Sorry to hear.
No. Oh, thank you. Yeah, about 1,000 other homes also burned down. So at least we weren't alone. I don't know. It was weird. Weird times.
Mm-hmm.
Weird times. And then I think I just lost a passion a little bit.
Mm.
And I was coping just kind of dealing with the aftermath of all that, like finding a new place, restocking all our things, all our material things, and then
like for your house.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah. And then kind of mourning, like, I know this sounds silly, but kind of mourning like the loss of some original paintings.
Yeah, for
that
sure.
I had.
That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, there are a lot that kind of like meant a lot to me. They were just sentimental, kind of in the way that they represented like a time period, you know. Yeah. And just
you can probably track your progress. Having things around like that's probably nice for that.
Exactly. And then just kind of like, I mean, I think I probably was smoking more weed than maybe even I was back in the day when
you smoke weed, bro.
when like, you know, we were throwing down an eighth on a blunt between 3 people and smoking it all at once. I mean, okay, probably not that much then, but it felt like that
our
much.
Other best friend from Kentucky, he and I had the ritual before we worked our 5-hour-long Jimmy John shift.
So long.
That we would match each other a 3-gram blunt, just he and I. So I would roll a 3-er, he would roll a 3-er. We'd pass those back and forth.
Shout out Duke.
Then we'd go to work for 5 hours and, you know, eat like 7 cookies and
God,
10 bags of baked Lays. And
dude, those cookies, eventually they make you sick.
Yeah, you're telling me.
Oh, yeah.
I think I'm still sick.
There's still something crawling around in there.
It's never been
from
right.
the oatmeal raisin Jimmy
No.
John's.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, you think it's all about the chocolate chip, but then after
Then
like
you
the 4th
realize-
one, you're like, yeah, oatmeal raisin, all right.
You're like, then you learn what an emulsifier is.
Yeah, you can pack those in there.
Yeah, dude.
You're like, dude, this 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. work shift is flying by.
Ooh.
And then you get off and you do another rematch of the 3-gram blunt.
Yep.
So
Rematch.
the cage match.
Yes. Yeah, it wasn't quite decided that first blunt, so you had to, You had to have a
it took
rematch.
4 per every 5-hour shift.
Yeah. So like just getting into that like just habitual like smoking weed all day thing.
Yeah.
I think that really, I mean, and okay, this is gonna sound really silly for me to be like, smoking so much weed actually warps your perception of reality, because I, you know, whatever, 20-year weed smoker or whatever, but I think it just stopped working for me. And it took me a long time to realize that.
Well, maybe you're dealing with different life things too than you had.
Exactly.
So whatever context weed worked before, now it's, you know,
Not working.
Yeah.
So
Had to step it up to the hard stuff.
yeah. No, I was just, it was weird. It was weird just smoking weed all the time. Just weed and coffee and nicotine.
Yeah.
So
Nicotine doesn't seem like it's going to help you get over trauma. It seems like it's going to help you
No.
cling to some trauma,
not at all.
like form a trauma bond within yourself and your memories.
I don't know if it's that. I think it's literally just, for me, obviously the physical addiction is a big thing, as we all know. That's not news to anyone.
Yeah.
Guys,
Oh,
nicotine is an addictive chemical. But also I think it was just like I had linked it to painting.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, and it does have kind of like lightly stimulating effects. It's a nootropic, as like people like to bandy that word about.
Ooh.
So I had linked it to painting, which was like a good productive thing.
Nice.
And then the that oral fixation thing
Mhm.
too. Yeah, I was just in the throes of slowly getting back into painting and kind of like wondering what the hell that all meant. Just to have a whole, like, half of a town burned down out of nowhere.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Did you stop painting after that?
For a bit, for a couple months. Yeah. But then I had a mural gig, which was awesome. At I don't even know if it's open yet, but it's Society Colorado with a bunch of other artists, so that was fun. And I made a small painting, and then I worked on that brain painting, which took me like 3 months.
Which is amazing too.
Hey, thank you.
It's pretty cool.
Thank you. And anyway, you went on a bit of a hiatus.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you want to talk about it.
Talk about whatever.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Your mom passed away
Yep.
in 2020, February, right?
Yeah, like a few weeks before COVID hit.
Yeah.
Like,
that is rough.
I remember being in the hospital and seeing the first news stories of COVID that I had seen were like
Really?
in the room with her.
Oh my God.
You know, and it seemed like it could have been a SARS kind of thing where it's just
Right.
like, yeah, it's in the news for a week.
Right.
It goes away.
Yeah.
So, yep.
That must have been rough, man. Like, then after that, mourning the loss of your mom, and then just having the whole heaviness of that time period, like, coupled with that, I wouldn't want to be making shit either. I don't think.
Well, yeah. I mean, to make any kind of art is definitely a luxury, you know? Like, that's high up on the list of having your needs taken care of, you know?
Yeah, that
daily needs.
Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Sure. Yeah.
You're all good. You're just trying to cap that pyramid. Or
right.
whatever.
Right. Are you, eating and like wasn't taking care of myself for sure. So,
really? Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the? I mean, this. I don't know how to phrase this question because, I'm kind of just. I didn't know if I was going to bring this up or not.
Yeah.
But what kind of pulled you out of that? Was it just time? Was it processing all of that?
Pulled me out of grief?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was several things. I mean, time for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had heard from people, you know, and it's like funny. People go through that kind of thing. You like lose a parent or something. You know, at our age, we're pretty fortunate to not, encounter that too much.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, people would like reach out and kind of. This is not a thing it's easy to talk about either.
Right.
So you'd kind of get little like messages from people here and there, and just kind of remind you like, yeah, it's never going to get easier, but the amount of time that you've dealt with this will increase.
Mm-hmm.
So this incident will feel smaller by proportion to as time goes on. You know, you'll have more time. You'll keep living. Things will continue to happen. Life will continue to happen. Hopefully good things happen. So time was a big part of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere around like 2 years after that. So that would have been like, spring of 2022, stuff started feeling better. But yeah, it was a lot of work. I mean, I didn't open Ableton for it was like 2 years before I did any work pretty much. And leading up to spring of 2020 had made what I had considered some of my best songs.
Yeah.
Was just, channeling the impending grief really well into the art. It was just kind of like, okay, how do I deal with this? I want to turn it into something,
What's that EP called? Is it Shadow?
Well, it's a Shadow Mix.
Shadow Mix.
Yeah,
Shadow
which
Mix.
a lot of those tunes will be coming out this year, like in 2023.
Yeah.
And yeah, to me, a lot of those are great tunes, Like, honestly,
I agree.
Take some Adderall and spend some time and just, like, really hone in on making interesting sounds. And even if you spend hours and you only get 3 seconds of an interesting sound, okay, well, that sound is worth hearing. Where does it fit in this tune?
Yeah.
Finding those places, then crafting tunes around combined efforts that, just like that, over and over and over. And now you have a tune that's actually really pretty cool to listen to. And so, yeah, it channeled a lot of energy like into that, into writing music. And then, then dealt with the death and did an open Ableton for, it was like 2 years pretty much.
Wow.
I've looked back and have seen a few sketch ideas started where, I could tell one day I was trying to do something, and it would be a roughest draft of an idea, one little thing you could tell you spent 2 hours on.
Yeah. Did it feel like you were forcing it when you were?
Yeah, I feel like that was like, wishing things were different, kind of like, hey, this has been a safe, happy space for me. If I go and open the computer and sit in my room, like, maybe I can get there, it's very wishful thinking. So, really like coming up for air kind of moments amidst all the heaviness of the grief and, the suffocation that you feel,
Yeah.
And then, kind of got put back on to do a show and had a bunch of months notice. And that kind of got me into a point where I knew I needed to write again.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to be an artist and you're going to do it professionally in any context, just simply, it could be one show and you're getting paid for it. That's professional, know? So felt like I needed to come with some new tunes. And, and it took like 4 months maybe of setting an alarm and telling myself, okay, I have to work at least 30 minutes every day.
Yeah.
And most days it was only 30 minutes. I'd hit that 30 mark and have nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
Other than I tried.
Just sitting down in front of that, in front of Ableton, in front of your computer, in your workspace.
In my studio by myself.
Helps.
Just to, because you lose that connection. It's a habit as much as it is. Well, it starts with, your internal desire to do it. You have a desire to create something. And then you become, accustomed to that over time by forming the habit,
Right, yeah.
Like, oh, I sit here. It's a ritual kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So I had lost all connection to the ritual, to the habit. So I had to relearn that.
Yeah.
Throughout the grief, it was really like, just felt so nihilistically depressed that there was no point to anything.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we're all going to die. Why would you even try to do anything?
Yeah.
Just like, but if you're going to keep on living, you can't, those are at odds. That sentiment, is
right.
It's going to conflict. So eventually is like, yeah, keep doing this. So we'll have to kind of get back to things that you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
And making music obviously has been a thing doing forever as a kid. Mm-hmm. And so through that retraining and reestablishing that habit, it took about like 4 months before I had a couple of tracks that felt all right, worth playing and stuff. And really it was like the last couple of weeks before this show that I had signed up to do, that things kind of clicked, and it was a rush till the finish line there. Like, okay, I can kind of get these playable.
Yeah.
And I think all those tunes are in. I just put out a live set from Earth Frequency Festival in Australia.
Yeah.
That I was at a couple of months ago in May, and I think all those tunes are in that set. Like, they turned into ones that are pretty good.
Nice.
So a year and a couple of months after that first show back, the tunes are good enough to stick around.
Sweet. Nice.
And so they'll probably see completion and official release and stuff this year.
So was this all internally driven, the act of forcing yourself to sit down in front of the computer for 30 minutes? Were you having help? Did you go to therapy? What?
I did a little therapy, and I mean, I don't know if it helped, like, something like when you start therapy, there's always just a telling of your story. Like, that's how starting with a new therapist goes. And so I just met with one person, and it was okay. It was good to have somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
Again, highly encourage therapy. It's like anybody could benefit from therapy for sure. And I've honestly thought about going back to doing that, as now I feel pretty settled and content with where life's going. Mm-hmm. But I can tell after, like a particularly opening experience or something, that there's just, the grief is still just right there on the surface. And it's just like, feels like a, shell of a crab, a horseshoe crab or something that's been cracked open, and there's like the soft, gushy interior. And go, as a kid on the beach, go poke it with a stick, and you're like, oh, I feel that. I really feel that. You know?
Yeah.
So kind of think it would be good to maybe go again.
Yeah.
But it helped a little bit. I think, with anything of any professional artistry, like, the more you publicly convey to people around you that that's what you want to do, like, that's a big part. You hear people talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
If you want to become an artist, tell people around you.
Yeah.
That'll help, you know what I mean? Even if it's just holding you accountable, or even within yourself, you've finally, like, oh, I shared that thing that I wanted to share with people, you know, that I was
Right.
afraid to share, and now you do it.
And it holds you to account too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That, like, and then that, so yeah, having a gig was a big thing, you know, a finish line, so to speak, to kind of get towards. I mean, a lot of it was just like living, you know, more healthily and stuff.
Yeah.
Deciding that like, rather than thinking, hey, we all die, so nothing matters, just the opposite. Like, hey, we all die, so actually things
Everything.
do matter,
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
And in the beginning stages of the grief, and even before her passing, I had always kind of hoped that there would come a day when all of this would kind of turn into a bit of a superpower, you know? And kind of we'll hear some people talk about that with the trauma people go through sometimes, where
Yeah.
like, hey, you went through the worst thing you could imagine, you know?
Right.
Or like it's so weird too. Like, I remember being a kid sometimes, and you'd like,
Yeah.
do you ever try to come up to the boundaries of your like emotional body or your understanding, where you might be like, what's the saddest thing I can think about?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Totally.
And for me as a kid, and I remember being in like 4th grade, you know, I remember it was like 4th grade, and
I
remember-
actually, okay, just to
yeah
hold that thought.
Yeah.
I kind of live there still.
yeah
but as I think it's hard to really explain all this, but as a bulwark against the worst thing that could happen, not expecting the worst thing to happen, but being like back then especially, it was like, oh, my parents drove to wherever, they got, you know,
yeah
they're not coming back.
yeah
And I still do that sometimes, just like be prepared, like, but I don't know if this is where I need to go to therapy. I just like, I don't know if that's a healthy, is that healthy? I don't know. Maybe not.
Who's to say?
Yeah,
Yeah.
true that. But okay, so you're in
Well,
4th grade.
I remember being the end of 4th grade, and you know, some chick that I liked, and she was in 5th grade. We had a split class.
Older
4th,
lady.
yeah, a little bit, little 4th, 5th grade action.
Yeah.
And was like, oh no, she's going to middle school, dude. Oh, this is terrible.
Yeah.
And then so kind of like getting a little sad about it, and then kind of wanting to run with that feeling.
Stacking on.
It's like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
where can we go with this, you know?
Yeah.
And thinking about it, and the thing that I could imagine that was the most sad to me was my mom dying.
Oh
you know?
my gosh.
And so I would think about it, you know? And there were definitely times like in the last few years, or, you know, especially like 3 years ago, where I would be like, did I will that into being?
Oh,
and of
man.
course you didn't, because
Right.
like it doesn't work like that. You know?
Right.
It's not a thing I would want to be happening.
Exactly.
But anyway, so yeah, after you kind of go through that thing, which I'll go ahead and say, if that's the worst thing that's going to happen to you in the scale of all the things in the world, pretty blessed, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Our parents are going to die. We're all going to die.
Yes.
So I don't want to like, woe is me it, but
Right.
for me in my blessed lifetime, like that was it. And so
Yeah, I mean, we're not having a competition on who
Yeah.
suffers more. It's like
suffering
we all,
is suffering. If
Right,
it's the
exactly.
worst to you, it's the worst to you. You know
Yeah,
what
yeah.
I mean? It's not that game. But yeah, so I think kind of eventually you figure you've gone through some terrible shit, and like, no, life is actually worth living. So we're going to stick around, and
Yeah.
okay, what do we have to do to get back in it? You know? And so
Yeah.
it just involves, you know, taking care of yourself and paying attention to those things. And really the biggest thing was recognizing how much I missed making music,
Yeah.
and how much it meant to me, and also like how much it had meant to my mom too.
Yeah.
You know, like I chose a name that vaguely references, you know, psychedelic mushrooms and
Yeah, yeah.
stuff. And like in the beginning phases of making music, my mom wasn't too stoked on that, you know,
Yeah.
due to like things in the past, getting in trouble and things.
Yeah.
And
True.
there was a certain point in the career a bunch of years ago where we had moved to you and I had moved to Colorado already,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a gig in Asheville, North Carolina, so across the country,
Yeah.
a few hours from where we grew up in Kentucky. And
Right.
and my mom happened to be down in Asheville with some friends of hers, and
Nice.
sees a flyer on just the street, you know,
Really?
and is like, oh shit, you know, he's doing it, like that's
Yeah.
really cool. And then from then on would send me texts before I'd be flying out for shows in a weekend. I'm like, have a great weekend, Soulacybin. You know,
Aw,
just so funny.
that's so cute.
So sweet.
Yeah.
And so you'd kind of remember all these things and realize how much it meant to you and other people, and you know how much of a shame it would be to let all the effort you've put into something go by the wayside, you know. And
Yeah.
and kind of like, again, reflecting what you just said about where you sometimes you got to take a break from things, you know, and hopefully the point of that break is that you get a new perspective due to you know, reconciling new life experiences,
Right.
realizing there's more than just maybe the charmed existence of your art career.
Right. Yeah.
And then hopefully rounding back out to how much impact the art has had for you, and maybe it's worth doing, you know?
Yeah, you go through kind of a phase of like, you're like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing ever. My art is like all that there is. And then something happens, or life just shows you that there's way more to life than that.
Yeah.
But then for me, it was like, I think it was people, every time I've gone out, which hasn't been a lot since the fire, someone comes up to me and they mention the podcast and how much they love it. So partially I'm doing it for you.
Nice.
If we're still recording on my iPhone. So yeah, you out there, thank you for that. That really helped. And there's something, I think part of the reason I stopped is because I was in a bad mental place, not like terrible, just like lightly grieving, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was very delayed. Like, I think Sarah handled it really well, where like every night after the fire, she would just softly like go cry to herself somewhere. And I would just be like trying, you know, being like, all right, where do we need to go tomorrow? Like, they're handing out free clothes here, and we can get free food in Boulder, which is really awesome. Man, Boulder's the best place to have your house burned down, I guess, if you're going to have that happen. Anyway, we need to go do it. And I was just like doing that whole thing, which is, I guess, good in a way, like kicking into survival mode. But then after that, I would just have like big, like, I was working so slowly on this painting. I'm like, so I kind of lost a bit of motivation. But yeah, you think it's the coolest thing ever, then life shows you that there's more to life than that. But then you can reintegrate that back into just your day-to-day living. And it's kind of like, it really is like a gift, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like you can give this gift to people.
Definitely.
Of your music, of your art, whatever talent that you have. And everybody's on their own journey, and own portion of their own journey. But at some point, at least I've come to realize that it's the less, or the more that I take like a back seat and just try and like look at it as like service or something like that, it seems to be more impactful and like actually supports me more.
Yeah.
In this weird way. But yeah, so just don't give up, I guess.
Yeah.
It's kind of,
or give up when you need to.
Right.
You know, and keep, you know, stay in touch with how you feel about it, and when the time's right, get back into it, you know. And I don't know, just like honesty within yourself, you know, and the reality. And I think, you know, not everything life throws at you is gonna equate to you doing your art, you know. And like, that's a good thing to recognize. But again, do it if you feel like it.
Yeah, totally. I think,
and we always know too that, like, you hear every artist talk about, you have to live life, you know. I feel like people, you know, artists kind of go through phase where you strictly live in your creative space,
right?
You know, and then people will find that they've kind of tapped out what they have to draw on to create art with. And of course, we know, if all the sonnets and love letters and you know, everything over the eons of human has shown us that it's like the sad and tough things birth the greatest art usually. You know, deepest emotion, greatest need to express something.
Totally.
You know,
you have to live life, and like, I think the more life that you've lived, whether it's, hard or easy or joyous or suffering, you can just channel more of that emotion into your artwork.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, you mentioned your new mix.
Yep.
From Australia.
From Australia, mate.
Yeah, and you're out there with some bogans.
Yeah, some bogans. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, some cunts.
Yeah, some righteous cunts.
I got told pretty quick you don't want to say mate if you're like, hey, mate. Like, that's kind of
old-fashioned.
It's kind of like a little aggressive.
Is it?
Yeah,
it's like hey, bro.
Yeah, it's a little like that. Like you could use the term bro, but you could definitely say hey, bro, and it means very different thing than being like, yeah, bro,
Yeah.
So, yeah, everyone's a cunt.
Okay, and, everyone's a nice little cunt. Okay.
Some people were bogans up north of the country, and
aren't they all?
Well, I mean, we're from Kentucky.
Just kidding.
Well,
I mean, we're bogan. We're the bogans.
Yeah, we're from Kentucky, and it's kind of like people are not bogans until they are, and like you get a couple of drinks in them, and then you're like, what the fuck are they saying?
Shoo-wee, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. All right.
Like, I can't understand the words, but I can feel the sentiment, and I like it.
Yeah. So I want to ask you about the mix in particular. There's a quote at the very beginning. So maybe we can linger a bit on this kind of life stuff that we've been talking about. And it goes something like, a lot of people want a frictionless life.
Yeah.
But then I myself have founded a point in me where I embrace friction, where I embrace tension and changes. And then I don't remember the rest of the quote, but I wanted to know who said that and what does that quote mean to you?
I'm surprised you don't know who said it.
I've only listened to it 2 times.
Yeah.
Well, I've listened to the quote thing probably 3 or 4 at this point.
Okay.
But I didn't want to look it up.
Juicing my SoundCloud plays, huh?
Yeah. That's right, dude. That's why you pay me the big bucks.
Yeah. Well, it's a quote from Maynard.
Oh, it's Maynard.
Yeah, it's Maynard from Tool. Little band. Yeah.
Oh, and so that's where that bell sounds from.
Well, yeah,
Bing.
a bunch of years ago, like when Fear Inoculum came out, I sampled the beginning of that, and like right after it came out, I think it was a show in Israel, so it would have been like pretty much that month it came out.
August 2019. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I guess I would have done Israel in like October, so
nice.
2 months.
Nice.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's fun to start your set sometimes with things that are a little recognizable,
I knew I recognized that bell sound, and I was like, I know that's from music.
Yeah.
And now as soon as you said
it plays
Maynard,
pretty much once before it starts getting like shifted and things, because I feel like you'll get dinged on.
Yeah, you'll know what it is if you play it more than once.
Yeah. So, but it's a different quote from Maynard. Yeah, who's just one of the epitomes of turning life's shittiness into greatness. The alchemy of reality into beautiful art.
Lead into gold.
Yeah. So, it's basically him just kind of talking about, people shy away from the friction and the tension and, and I feel like it's kind of representative of a lot of artists' state.
Yeah.
Not singular to him, that you somehow recognize that maybe from that place you kind of create some pretty good art,
Yeah.
And again, to me, it always feels like a need to transmute what you've been through, you know, to channel something, because if it just stays inside you, it could eat you, so he's basically talking about, like being comfortable with that realization and being comfortable with the tension,
like seeing
of
that
life
coming.
Like, hey, that's actually not that bad of a thing, because first of all, you'll either get through everything or you won't, and you'll be dead, and it doesn't matter to you.
Right.
And so when you then get through it, you're going to, be able to channel that into something beautiful,
Nice.
Trying to ride that wave.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm surprised I didn't. Well, I guess I'm not surprised. because I couldn't.
You don't love Tool, so it's okay.
I'm not that big of a Tool fan.
No, you love Tool.
No, I do, but I just didn't recognize his voice for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's a very Maynard thing to say, for sure.
And I like things like that are real and genuine, but that, I don't know what, are rooted in, a really like secular viewpoint of the world, you know. It's just,
you're a fan of the Bible.
This dimension, that dimension. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the Bible. So it's the word of the Lord. And, basically just like things that have some meaning to them that are
relatable, without...
somewhat provable. You know what I mean? It's pretty true. You know? At least I know that to be true.
Right.
We don't have to go off into, different dimensional theories and it just simulation. It's just like, let's just stick to what we know.
Yeah.
But still maybe say something meaningful.
Totally.
And, so it's fun to sample things like that.
Oh, yeah. So in this process of sort of embracing friction and embracing just the grief of the past few years, how has that changed how you either approach or kind of think about music? And that can be how you think about the industry, how you think about approaching your setup as you sit down to work, and how you just think about music itself as an art form.
Well, I think first in regards to the industry, I feel like way more invigorated to kind of navigate that, that world now. And that comes, I think, with age too, where you just can kind of figure out ways to make it easier on yourself. If you're going to have to travel and play some shows, like maybe you get some sleep, simple things like that, maybe you don't go to every after party, things like that. So that, seems more navigable. And then I think in terms of like actually making art, I have noticed that I want to make things that are a bit more accessible. And that I think is a multifaceted approach. I think one side of it is for myself, being able to make things that aren't so squirrely to kind of track down. And, you could describe my music as squirrely at times, So, I mean, if you listen to this new mix, which you should go listen to it,
it's on SoundCloud.
It's up on my SoundCloud.
Soulacybin.
Live in Australia. The first 25 minutes or so of it is kind of this like psy trap kind of stuff that I've been writing a bunch of. And it's, we loosely define trap as just kind of 808 based beats, things like that.
Jittery hi-hats.
And for me, like, I've always kind of snuck those, like, a lot of pitched 808 snare drums in certain songs, using them as kind of like a ghost note of a snare, of like the main snare. But yeah, it's been like more fun to write that kind of stuff. That's also a lot of what I listen to, people like Sam Binga is like a huge influence, somebody I've loved for years. And I think a desire has kind of come out to make music. It's a little easier to reach, you could make the most basic beat for me, because my tendency is to overcomplicate things, for sure, music and life otherwise. So kind of recognizing that tendency first of all, and then how to rectify that. And you're like, well, if I keep beat structure is fairly simple, but still pretty active, because I like a lot of activity in the drums, all the music you're going to write over top it is still going to end up swirly and psychedelic and things like that, So I kind of can't help that a bit. So rather than trying to make drum patterns go way less, less predictable, like I have in the past, I'm kind of just, that's a kick pattern. That's going to happen like most of the song, until a section maybe dictates it changes or something. But So yeah, I mean, it's been more fun for me to write that stuff, but I think also there's been a desire to, you know, like you were saying earlier, you want to do your art for people, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think there's just been maybe a desire to like maybe reach more people with the art. And so
yeah,
somewhere in combined with, you know, maybe it's a reflection of the music I listen to and realizing that, hey, I listen to a lot more of this kind of beat structured music than other things.
Yeah.
So it's seeping in there, you know, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think that that's probably, how do I say this? I think it's important to start with what you like.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And just go from there. And I've actually, I can relate to the sort of simplifying things.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's almost harder to have or convey complicated emotions with complicated whatever it is.
Yeah.
Artwork, music,
Yeah.
literature, whatever it is, prose, whatever. But once you can simplify it and say it in less words or say it with less, that's when it actually gets through to people.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the complicating of art is an intellectual thing.
Right. It's an analytical thing
Yeah.
rather than an emotional, like intuitive thing.
Yeah. So it's almost inherently at, you know, in opposite of a pure emotional expression, you know? And again, my stuff gets way too overthought and trying to just think less about things, you know?
Yeah.
Realizing that something's good enough, that it's whatever, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Not having judgment is very hard, I think, for people who, like you and me, who want a polished thing to ship to people at the end of the day, you know?
Yeah.
But especially in the beginning, if you can just get loosey-goosey with it, you know?
Yeah.
Have a good old time.
Yeah. Keeps it fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that kind of dovetails into my next question about how's your style evolved? Specifically, I guess, as you've gone through life. I mean, I know I guess we just talked about that, so maybe we don't need to ask that question, but if you have anything else to say on that.
How's this style evolved? Yeah, I mean, we kind of touched on it, you know, just, I think even one step behind recognizing like the changes, it's also accepting that changing in a way that once felt so fundamental to your artistic expression is okay, you know?
Right, yeah.
Like, I feel like my bread and butter is a certain thing, but guess what? Things change. That's okay, you know?
Yeah.
And to roll with that. And then, like I kind of mentioned before, the other side of that acceptance is knowing that no matter what you do, it's always going to be an expression of you, you know?
Right.
So really kind of running with that, being okay with doing things differently, different way, making it sound different, look different, you know?
Yeah.
Because who knows? Maybe like the old way was holding you back. Maybe it's not keeping your truest expression in there, right? I mean, especially if we're always changing, then
exactly.
Like,
yeah. Why would you want to?
You got to change it.
Why would you want to stay the same? I think there's an Anderson .Paak line that's like, "What you think I'm doing all of this to stay the same?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Love that line.
Yeah.
And I love an artist who can dip their toes into different styles and explore whatever they want whenever they want.
Yeah. You and I were having a convo the other day kind of about this.
Oh, yeah.
And like, you know, we live in, at least like the world I exist in musically, you know, it feels like people get so in their lane.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Partially, I think, because maybe there is so much music being created nowadays that it is really important to create your lane, you know?
Sure.
Like that's kind of one of the biggest goals, I think, of an artist these days. You know.
Go ahead.
But then, so like underground electronic music, whatever, That's almost kind of the hallmark of it, somewhat. So people will build their styles and they stay in that groove.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were talking about it, and you brought up David Bowie as somebody who, when you actually think about music on a big popular scale, that's kind of how that is the central tenet of the whole thing.
Yeah.
That change and evolution are what this is actually made around, And people have a style and it works until it doesn't, and the people who are really successful figure out how to make that pivot before it becomes
stale,
unsuccessful. Exactly.
Yeah, but don't you think, just to lead you here, don't you think that some of that stay in your lane stuff it's in some way kind of corralling people's just artistic expression and their potential?
Yeah.
It's you're sort of corralling a person's freedom to change and express it genuinely when there's this, and I don't even think it's on purpose or anything. I don't think there's some conspiracy to be we got to get these artists in their fucking lanes.
Yeah.
But it's, but I think that, I do think that there's this weird pressure for you to be on brand and in your lane. And there are tons of videos, podcasts, tons of content out there on how to successfully brand yourself. And
brand's important. It's huge. These days it has become such a thing that you have to stand out somewhat.
Yeah.
And people can go all that direction.
And that's fine.
It becomes the utmost goal.
Yeah.
For me, I would definitely recognize within myself that a inability to stray from brand is pure insecurity. If that makes sense.
For you.
For me.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, this worked. I'm so fucking thankful something worked.
Yeah.
For anybody from my output. To go and change that seems like a scary move, I think.
I could see it. I mean, I
see
can
people
see
who are out
it.
there just throwing that to the wind, and those are the true badasses, people who just can pivot and do things,
Yeah. I mean, I haven't been so far super successful with my art, right? And I think part of the podcast is maybe me therapizing about that. But I could see how that might happen, but I think I don't know. I guess the counter to that is someone could say, well, you haven't found your thing. You haven't found your thing yet.
Yeah.
And Picasso had a thing.
Yeah, but he didn't have didn't he have a bunch of things?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean,
and
he went through different
and
periods.
That to me is
stuff.
a perfect example of somebody who was not afraid of the challenge, right? I mean, if you found the first thing that you came upon and it worked and you stayed with that, that's not going to be interesting for a lifetime.
Right.
Right.
I think I know this isn't news to anybody who sort of follows the kind of creative banter online. But first things first, you have to love it.
Yeah.
You have to love what you're doing. And I feel like if it gets rote or gets just boring, then it's, I don't know. You're sticking to your brand and you might still make money, and that's great.
Yeah.
But
and I mean, I think part of the allure of, being an artist is creating and then solving that puzzle, whatever piece it is that you're working on. And if you figure out how to master that certain type of puzzle, it's not really exciting to you to keep doing that again and again,
Right.
And that doesn't mean, it's not to say that pursuing something that's worked in the past is you not taking a chance. That's not it at all.
Yeah, I want to make that clear
for
too.
myself.
I want to,
If I were to sit and actually be like, what is your resistance to trying something new? I'd have to say, well, I'd be worried that people wouldn't accept it, know? And then if you recognize that, you say, fuck that, I would like to try something different.
Yeah, I definitely want to try something new.
Yeah.
I think I'm also, for me, I also have to be careful that I'm not just taken away by every whim that I think of doing. That's my personality. That's my cross to bear is well, I could just get carried away in all different directions,
Totally.
and then the thing becomes like the opposite of laser focused. It's like a dribbling, a hose that's spraying wide and not really making an impact. But I also like exploring too.
Yeah. I mean, you've made a huge pivot in your art.
I have, yeah.
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 Which is quite cool.
To simplify the fuck out of it.
Well, yeah. But
and also, like, I don't know. I've found a thing for now.
I mean, your paintings of a few years ago, it's every color imaginable.
Yeah, true. True.
Like, there are...
Well, I mean, how far are we talking? We're talking, like, 2017?
Yeah, some stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like the hands. And,
Yeah.
Like we have human forms, we have speaker forms, we have mushrooms, we have little guys hidden on top of things.
Yeah.
All the way down to nebulous, amorphous, non-form forms, And now
Thanks for remembering that, by the way.
Yeah, of course. And now you're doing things where it's black and white.
Yeah.
Well,
so if you'll indulge me,
reduce it.
If you'll indulge me, I thought about this the other day in the way it relates to visionary art, because I'm working on a circular piece right now that's kind of like a stripy op art mandala, and it does the fucking thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't know what that thing is, but it does the optical illusion thing.
Yeah, it makes your eyes go ooh.
Yeah,
yeah,
and then I thought about, oh, this is literal visionary art, and it's boiled down to that simple concept of duality and the circle. And it's like, if we want to get all Alex Gray on it verbally, then that's really all it is. It's an interconnected circle of light and dark and it's at their extremes, granted, but it gives the illusion of form, and really it's just lines, but it gives the illusion of value almost, which is kind of like a light and dark. Your eye wants to put a sort of like, oh, this is the top part of this ridge, and it also does that for color. Like if you blur your eyes and look at a black and white optical illusion, you'll see red, blue, yellow, green, magenta, cyan.
Your favorite.
Here we go, folks.
It's your favorite.
Here we go. Good podcasting. Podcasting 101. Yeah, so anyway, I was indulging there. We were talking about simplifying things, I guess, and just how styles evolve.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, it's exactly like you're saying, and again, to hear you express that, it's very clear that the art has not simplified. It's maybe less parameters, less, things you're playing with, but that doesn't sound any less simple than a highly, object-packed painting of years ago,
Yeah, totally. Full saturation on all the color.
If anything, it sounds like that's maybe more simple, just because it's like, here's everything, here's everything.
Here's
all at once.
everything. Yeah, exactly. Which is, I think, at the heart, underneath all of everybody's concept. That's what we do want to express. Have you seen that movie, by the way?
Not
Everything,
yet.
Everywhere, All at Once. Oh my God, it's the best. It's just the best. Can I tell you? I've seen it 3 times now. Every time I cry.
Nice.
I cry every time. It's a beautiful movie. Everybody, if you haven't seen it, go see it.
You get what, like half a cent for every person who watches it?
That's right.
From
yeah,
this
0.5%.
Yeah, okay. It's pretty good.
It's probably dead by now anyway. We'll be right back, folks. All right, so you were just telling me your favorite Tucker Carlson quotes.
Yeah. Well, I'm way more about the facial expressions than I am the quotes. He says so much more, It's
what's going on?
It's that slack jaw, like trying to keep your lips together, but letting your chin really drop.
God, that guy also sucks. God, another punchable.
Looks like
person.
somebody trying to take a dump that they know will never actually leave their body.
The dump that won't come.
Yeah.
Tucker Carlson in the dump that never came.
Every summer they make it like a 1, a 2, 3, 4, and it still just hasn't come yet.
The constipation won't ease. Oh, so, dude, yeah. Again, thank you for being on the podcast.
Yeah, of course. I'm glad you're doing it again.
Yeah, me too. I think for anybody curious, not gonna do it every week. That was definitely.
That's a lot. I bet
that's a lot, and I don't have anyone helping me currently. And the people that have helped me in the past, big shout out to John Speaker, Mark Santos, Eliza Schultz, Andrew Size. You guys are awesome, but I could never pay anybody, and it's not their passion project. So, okay, so we were talking about kind of evolving the style, going through changes, all that kind of stuff. I said that it's important to never give up. I've quit several things in my life.
Oh yeah.
That like
I love a good quit thing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. At the same time, though, like, I've quit so many things that I wanted to, like, see this through, I guess.
Yeah.
You know? Like, just do it because I like doing it. And it can be fun. And people love it.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah.
You better love it.
They do.
You better love it.
Maybe you needed a little challenge or something.
Maybe. I don't know.
Like and also like you said, you've been through some things and reasons to not do it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It just felt like a lot, and I think I was in a kind of a selfish mind state where I was like, I do all this stuff. What do I get for it?
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's like 25. There were like about 25 people who were like donating to the Patreon, and they're like, "Hey, we helped you out."
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, thank you, of course. It's just weird, you know. We live in a crazy world where things aren't as, you know, our generation basically got butt fucked financially.
Yeah.
Not to be too crude or anything,
but
it's just like. I went to college, bro. I don't have shit to show for it at all. I mean, I guess I could.
Yeah, you did what? Psychology?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was great. That was the only thing I could find that I was like truly interested in.
Yeah.
That may have had potential career promise. And as soon as I was done with school, I was like, woo! Went to Europe, like blew a bunch of money, came back. I was like, fuck, I need a job. I guess I'll get one at Whole Foods. And the rest is history.
Yeah.
And I'm still there today.
We're in the stock room right now.
Yeah.
Break is almost over.
Yeah, break's almost up, dude. Actually, we're going a bit over break.
Uh-oh.
Nice. But yeah, I don't know. Never giving up is fucking tight if you love something.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think eventually people say, you know, like if you don't give up at something, you work hard enough, eventually things come together.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought of a I thought of a good story on the way over here that might be funny. Now, of course, I can't remember it. Anyway, what do you think about social media?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, there's a topic. There's an evergreen topic that we
never heard about that.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
It's great. Basically, social media should be just for gassing up the homies.
Yeah.
Get on there, and I only heart react on Facebook.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm back on Facebook, and all I do is heart react.
Nice.
If it's worth a react, it's a heart react.
If anybody comments on my art ever on Facebook, heart react.
Yeah.
Big heart react, dude. Yeah. Yeah, they really got me there.
Yeah. What do you mean? Hooked you in?
Yeah.
Turned you loose?
Yeah.
Spun you around?
Yeah. They spun me wrong round, baby, wrong round. Ooh. There's a part of, this is being really wide open, but there's a part of Instagram that is just the sexiest babes you've ever seen.
So me and Nikki were looking at this the other day.
Yeah.
Which is my wife. We were
Yeah.
like, I think she was like, man, like my Discover is all tattooed dready chicks. And I was like, yeah, me too.
What
you
the
know,
hell?
we both like show each other, and she's like, I mean, they kind of nailed it though. Everyone's going to want to see this.
Right?
We're like, yeah.
Like weird hot girls.
Great job, Zuck.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of it's like pipeline to porn though.
Yeah.
There's got to be
I think
some
so.
kind of deal they've worked out where you can have like as many like fembots. You can have this number of fembots on our platform for this amount of money in order to get them to your like it's this like subtle way of being like, oh man, like even if I'm just scrolling trying to find homies, it's like ad you might like these reels, and it's like the
reels are out of control.
Yeah. And then it, I don't know, man. When they write the history about our generation.
Yeah.
We talked about Barbie at the beginning of this.
Yeah, it's topical, and we love it. I love the movie.
Yeah, I want to see. I thought before I even talked to you, I was like, this actually looks tight as hell.
Yeah.
Like, it looks like a big spectacle movie. It's probably, like, cheeky as hell.
Yeah.
Like, tongue-in-cheek kind of thing. And, yeah, I was like, I'll probably see it.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, just to put this thought out there, I feel like someone must have already said it, but I haven't heard it been said. But I had this shower thought about Barbie and Oppenheimer. And it's literally just the Adam and Eve of our current modern culture. It's the bomb and the like somewhat sexualized plastic self. Right? Barbie was like, I don't know if it's the first. I'm just going to speculate and talk out of school here. But it's the first like superfluous plastic toy that got super huge and continues till this day. And I'm sure it's had all these subtle effects on women, of course, and then even on the way that, it's basically like the 1950s ideal of like, hey, this is how women should be.
Well, that's the whole thing of the movie.
The movie. That's what I figured.
That is not what they thought it was.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's that, and then the bomb. DARPA invented the internet to survive nuclear catastrophe.
Yeah.
So that there could still be communication in the case of like a nuclear strike. And of course, the internet is basically the world we're living in now, for all intents and purposes.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting that it's like a retrospective of it's literally our current American like mythology, like how Adam and Eve was like the Bible's mythology.
Yeah. I mean,
I just wonder about that shit all the time. Or I guess just recently with this.
I feel like we're kind of living in times where like the goal is pulling back the veil, I feel like that's become kind of a societal goal in the last several years, you go through a global pandemic and all these things, and people are kind of like, but what's it really about, So it's like,
well, I think it's actually like a good thing.
Yeah.
It's a myth that we can all coalesce around. And that it's kind of a fucked up story, like especially the atom bomb. Obviously that's weird and fucked up, but it did develop all sorts of technology, and it's sort of like our creation myth. It's like, but it's real.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, guys,
so you got to go buy some Barbies and
some
drop
nukes.
an atomic bomb on them. Get mad about it.
Yeah. I'm a grown man holding a Barbie doll.
that I bought.
That
with
I bought
my own money.
with my money from this YouTube channel. What do you think about that? Here's what I think.
My daughter wanted me to let her play with it, but I said, no, I've got to blow it up.
I said, sorry, honey. Dolls are out of fashion now. I don't know. Okay, so I got a couple more questions for you. Where do you see your music in 5 years?
5 years?
You got a 5-year plan, big dog?
Man, I really need to tighten that up a little bit. But yeah, I think the goal is like more international stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Getting to tour Australia a couple months ago was pretty sweet. And, just eye-opening to the bigger music scene around the world. And so, yeah, just trying to travel more and write music that, takes less time to write, so you can release more music, release it when it's pertinent to you as a creator, and you can be stoked about it. And then, just, be open to what works where. And, I have a Psytrance project that one of my goals for this year is to kind of get finished and released. And that's huge everywhere but here,
Yeah. I don't care for it.
Yeah.
I mean, not yours in particular,
yeah,
but like Psytrance in general, I'm like,
well, again, it's one of those things
I want to give
there's
it another.
so much of it
Yeah,
that the bad stuff is really terrible. And
it's
it
like
really,
techno in that way.
it's basically, I feel like electronic music is really subject to that happening, where there's so much of it that the bad shit greatly outweighs the good shit.
Yeah.
And the good shit really gets lost in the shovel.
Yeah.
And people get, genreist, BPM-ist, and really.
How do you feel about rhythm?
Hey man,
what the hell is it?
What the hell is it anyway? Yeah, I don't
sound
know.
like such a boomer over here. What the heck? That's not how we spell it.
What the hell?
That's not how you spell it.
I tried to put that word into Wordle and it didn't work.
Snopes says it's false.
I feel like anything, if you see it in the right context,
could be cool.
Yeah, you see it on a dance floor of people who love it, and it's gonna be as cool as anything you've ever loved.
I've literally only seen people talk shit about it on Facebook.
Yeah.
That's I'm totally honest.
Yep.
Could be cool. I know that's it's got some roots reggae origins, obviously, with the word at least. Is it like what is it?
I don't really know. From my understanding, it's just about the word connotations as far as it goes.
Really?
I don't know.
So
it seems like I don't know, bro step stuff again, but maybe like a little deeper.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Could we get someone on the phone and ask them?
Maybe.
That would be pretty funny.
I don't know who I'd call.
I tried calling my dad once. Who was the podcast? I think it was with Bobby.
Did you call your dad and what'd he say?
I just tried to be silly with him, and it fell flat. I know that it fell flat. I released it anyway because I was like, who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? No. Do you have a dream project?
A dream project.
Like, so you, off mic, you've said like, working on video games, doing other things that are just like outside of the scope of just making music with Soulacybin and going on tour. Do you have anything like side projects, ideas like that?
I mean, I have a couple side projects. There is the Psytrance one, which, have some goals with that, little undeveloped to discuss too much, but, got some goals with it. And, have a project with the old standby group Lotus, their old guitar player, Michael Rempel, and I have a project that we've had going for 10 years now.
Yeah.
That is finally coming down to the completion due to my willingness to work on it.
Sweet.
Basically. Yeah, I mean, just diversifying the output, I think is like a big goal. Figuring out all the ways you can monetize your art.
Yeah.
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 That's
Video
smart.
games, scoring, things like that. Yeah.
Do you have like and it doesn't have to be, I mean, it can be pie in the sky, something that like it could either occur to you right now, or just you could just have it as a dream from being a kid, like, oh, I want to do the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles score. I want to be the next Vanilla Ice.
I want to co-produce the next Vanilla Ice hit with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Okay.
That's what I want.
Nice.
It's going to be a lot of pizza, a lot of nunchuck spinning.
So much pizza, dude. I can't wait.
A lot of spiky flat tops.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be good.
All right. Okay, so this will be the final question. And then I want you to plug some dates.
Okay.
I want you to plug some websites. And I want you to plug in your computer. God damn it. God.
You're rusty. You're getting it back.
Oh. No, okay, so if you could...
You'll get there.
If you could... Welcome back, folks. Welcome back to You'll Get There, eventually. I'm here with my friend John. Longtime friend of the show.
Yeah. First-time caller.
First-time caller. John.
This has actually all been an intervention to see if you deserve the podcast back. And
how have I done?
You'll get there.
We're going to call this one You'll Get There.
Yeah.
I give you a You'll Get There out of...
No, you're good. You're good to go.
Well, this has been quite entertaining, at least.
Yeah.
For us. Well, again, that's the most important thing, I think.
It is.
It is. If you could give your younger self, it could be 3 years younger, it could be 15 years younger. If you could give them either any advice or any kind of comfort or consoling or whatever, what do you think you would say?
On the real,
on the real, you can do funny and on the real. Okay.
Don't feed into the self-doubt so much. Yeah. I think that's there as a healthy safeguard to keep you from making bullshit art.
Yeah.
But don't believe it too much.
Yeah.
To keep yourself then from. In my case, like releasing more music or doing things like that. Just believe in yourself,
Yeah.
Yep.
Keeping it simple.
You got a unique voice, and go ahead and use it.
Hell yeah.
Use it, baby.
Yeah, baby. We're back. Welcome back. All right. Well, John, thank you so much.
Yeah.
First podcast back. I couldn't imagine doing it with anyone else.
5 good ones right there.
5 incredible ones. 5 cold ones. Sorry. Just been holding this drink. Yeah. So what you got coming up? Where are you playing at next?
Let's see. By the time this comes out, I will have already played the show in LA in a few days, but it happened. Believe it or not.
Believe it or not.
We got on the Range Festival in Washington State mid-August. Okay. We got some things.
That may have already happened too. We'll see.
Yeah, we got some things, maybe a couple of East Coast things in some September. Maybe I got Vegas 9:30.
Vegas, baby.
Vegas, baby. I told him take my set fee and put it on red, baby.
Mm-hmm.
See what happens.
Hot hand in the dice game.
So yeah, that could either go really well or really poorly. We'll see. Okay. Then we got Astronauts Festival in Austin, Texas, which is a huge one.
That looks so awesome.
Mid-October.
And shout out to Nick Stumbles for throwing that together.
Yeah, Nick did a great job.
Chance Roberts on the art squad.
Yeah, Chance, the whole crew. Yeah, it's like Juno Reactor, Grouch and Dub, Solar Fields. Whole lot of cool things.
Wow. What a festival.
Yeah, amazing. We got going back to Israel beginning of November for Desert Base. So that'll be my 5th time back over there.
Solving the crisis.
Yeah, I'm going to come back with a Dreadlock Rat Tail.
Ooh.
And, that's what happens on your 5th time.
Okay. On your 5th.
Yeah, and a Hebrew name, and
nice.
Yeah.
Some curls.
Yes. Yes.
Torah under your arm.
The dreadlock rat tail will be curly.
Okay. Well, I've had one of those
before.
It's
gonna be new. Yeah.
Were you? Is that what the reference was to my dreadlock rat?
No, just like psytrance culture where people have like
okay.
a single dreadlock in the base of their nape of their neck. Yeah,
that's a look.
It's a nape lock. Yeah.
A nape lock.
Yeah, and then I feel like there's some other stuff coming up, but yeah, I'll be hitting the road a bunch more this fall and in the spring next year, and plan to be staying pretty busy with the gigs, so come out and check them out.
Yeah, all good things.
Yeah.
And where can people find you?
Well, people could find me on SoundCloud. You can find me on...
Is that the best spot, you think?
Well, I don't know. Instagram's pretty good. Facebook's okay.
But when we're talking listening
Facebook,
to the tunes,
yeah,
not stalking you, what's the best place for people to stalk you?
Well, you can... My address is... yeah, you can tune into the Spotify. There's actually going to be regular releases for the rest of the year and from henceforth.
Hey-o.
So we'll be keeping things moving.
Sweet.
Yeah, just stay tuned to the socials. Look out for shows, and yeah, should be out there. You can always drop a line on the socials if you want to see me somewhere too. That's a good way to get it going.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Well, thank you again, dude.
Yeah,
appreciate
thank you, man.
Being
Yeah,
here.
appreciate
love
you too,
lots.
brother. Yeah, I love you too, man.
All
Glad
right.
you're back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're back.
Yeah. You got it. You got the job.
Thank you. Bye.